Watching a film in a different language is enough of a mind bender, so what if I told you this movie's gonna break your mind a second time? So hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the new movie, The Handmaiden. This is the new movie from Park Chan-Wook, who's the director of Old Boy most famously, and this is of course based off of that, a psychological thriller. He's also directed Stoker and Thirst. This movie stars Tae-ri Kim as Soo-ki as the titular handmaiden, Min-hee Kim as Lady Hideko, and Jung-woo-ha as Count Fujira. Now I'm not going to be really talking about much of the performances today. All the actors really just deliver great performances from top to bottom, so there's nothing really up or down to say overall, but Min-hee Kim really does steal the show overall with her performance as Lady Hideko in this movie, especially going into the second parts of the film where you get to see a lot more of her character, and it's just really a really interesting character that gets more fleshed out than I think most of the other characters in the movie. Now for a warning, recommendation wise, this movie is about 2.5 hours long, and it's a Korean-Japanese movie, so it's going to have subtitles in it, so for those that might be put away by any of those two things, this is just a fair warning that this might not be for you in that case. Now I'm just going to give a basic idea of the plot since I can't go into a 2.5 hour movie's entire plot idea. The movie follows the handmaiden Soo-ki as she works for Lady Hideko in this large mansion in Korea. But Soo-ki is actually working for Count Fujira to persuade Lady Hideko into marriage with him so they can later trick her into getting put into an insane asylum so they can split her money and take her riches. Now the movie is actually broken into several parts, giving the story from multiple characters' perspectives, and this is actually the most interesting part of the film. I think this is why I love this movie so much. Narratively, it's one of the most unique movies I've seen in a long time, especially already with this entire language thing going on, and it is very long, and I'll get into the length in a minute, but I just found this is actually, going plot-wise, a very interesting way to tell a story with the first 2 hours, as this is like a 3-part movie, and the first 3 hours basically give you 2 different characters' perspectives, and then the last hour just brings it all together once you're kind of caught up on what's actually going on with all the characters, and just kind of delivers the ending to you in that last half hour. So it's a very interesting movie in that respect. And there's plenty of twists and turns in that respect as well, and I don't really want to spoil all that, so I'm just going to keep it simple as I will be recommending this film a lot. So visually the film is very stunning. I mean, there's nothing crazy cinematography about it. It's just shot very well, composed very well, composition wise, and just even like boring hallway scenes and even travel scenes. I know there's distinctly this one scene of a car traveling to Lady Hideko's house when Soo-ki first arrives that just looks something out of like a Miyazaki Studio Ghibli film at certain points. So visually these movies are very awesome. For people that have seen Old Boy, Park Chan-Wook's most famous film, I probably don't need to tell you, based on the hallway sequence as it's been referred to in years, that Park Chan-Wook is very good at shooting films. Now the characters and the narrative of this movie are really the strong points, as you would hope in most movies that they would be, but overall, because of how strong the characters and the narrative, especially with the interesting storytelling style that really keeps you constantly wondering what's going on and wanting to hear more, you never really feel a 2.5 hour runtime with this movie. It really just shoots by because you're so engrossed in the story as it goes along, so you're not feeling this super long length on something like you would with American Honey. As much as I don't want to like poo-poo on a film like that, I just felt that you could feel the length in that case. Going off of this, just the completely unique narrative style and the 180 it takes by switching to a different character's perspective really keeps the movie very compelling and keeps the characters really interesting, because you constantly are thinking, oh, I don't know everything about these characters, and you're really guessing what you really truly know about all the characters in the movie as you go from scene to scene. And it's stuff like this and the twists and turns that it takes in the movie are really interesting, especially considering how non-revealing the trailers were. I'm pretty sure they're just like quick cuts constantly to keep you just getting a general idea of the visual look of the movie. So this was a really interesting way to do this movie, and I felt it was really gripping. Also, it's really interesting, given that this is a movie based on a British book called The Fingersmith, that they adapted it into a Japanese occupied Korea, that they really found an interesting way to do this story, not just on this basic level, that they actually take the subtitles and they let you know right at the start of the movie that the white subtitles are in Korean and the yellow subtitles are in Japanese, so they color code them for you. And this is interesting because it's not just for a factual reason. They actually throughout the movie use this more to tell you how characters are trying to act towards other characters and how they're feeling overall, as it kind of seems more like a status and being proper thing. So when characters are talking in certain languages, they're either trying to be direct or angry, and it's like very interesting in certain aspects as you watch this and understand it throughout the film. So overall, I really love this film. It's honestly a unique wonder. I think it's a real shame that because it's this foreign film and it's kind of this film that isn't going to apply to the mainstream very much, as great as it is, that it's going to be missed by a lot of the mainstream audience, especially as it's probably only going to be shown mostly in independent theaters like where I saw it. The overall unique story and the way it tells the story really keeps you guessing from top to bottom. You never really understand whether or not you know everything, and it makes you reflect on how much you know of a plot. And I thought about other movies I watching this movie, and oh, do I actually know everything about these characters? And you think about things like this throughout the movie because it really tries to make you think, how much do I know? And even by the end you're thinking, oh, there's probably an entire other side to the story that I don't know. Overall, this movie is uniquely shot. The score is interesting. It's used kind of more in a utilitarian way than like an amazing soundtrack way, but it works really well in this respect. So stylistically, it's also just top notch. It's insanely cleverly written, and it's really satisfyingly dark, given the final twists and turns that the ending takes, and just the twists and turns throughout the movie overall. I just found it just really fun to watch, and I rarely find a darker ending of a movie like as satisfying as this one, because it was kind of like a happy, sweet, sour ending in this specific respect. So overall, this movie is going to be one of my favorites of the year. I'm going to give it a 9.5. I really don't know if that's going to drop in future viewings, given its length possibly going forward, but overall, I loved this movie. I'm really surprised I felt like giving this a 9.5. It may drop to like a 9 going in, but I really think this is going to be one of my top 3 of the year, just because of how uniquely told and uniquely refreshing, and really frankly, I didn't get much into it, but this movie really pushes the envelope in a lot of different respects that I really wasn't respecting, especially given the trailers. So overall, I really recommend this movie to a lot of people. It's not going to be for everybody, of course, given the language and the length, and just the kind of more slow way that it's told, but just the unique way that it's told, I think is really enough that anybody should give it a shot, as this is a really unique movie that shouldn't be missed. As always, you can always check out everything I do on my Owen Sound blog. On this note too, for those that really loved my Moo Essentials video, I actually somehow through a bunch of emails and a lot of hard work and my freelancing work got to interview Moo. You can actually check this out on my Owen Sound blog. I posted it up and posted it with Cult Montreal, and I'm also going to be airing the interview that I did on my radio show In Tune, and you can catch that. I'll post that on my blog too, but of course you can also catch that on the CKCU FM website and go to the programs and check out In Tune. It'll say with Moo for that one, so check that out. And finally, you can of course check out the Real Deal podcast that me and my friend Michael do. We're going to be talking about a lot of movies. Hopefully I want to do one before the Rogue One movie comes out, because I know that's going to take up a half hour of whatever episode we do, so check that one out. And without further ado, guys, I'm going to send you guys off, but today I'm going to pose a question to you guys. What's your favorite foreign language film? I'm really thinking, especially watching the Shin Godzilla movie this year and this one, that we're kind of going to be in my top 10 of the year, frankly. I really want to know what you guys think of foreign films, and what is your favorite foreign language film.